Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to House of Yah, CAC, on this beautiful Shabbat day. I say Shalom, Shalom to the 12 tribes of Yasharel scattered to the four corners. Welcome you all to come on in, and all those who are joined to the house of Yasharel, those who are grafted into the house of Yasharel. We say Shabbat Shalom. This is your Raha, your Zakim, Richard Hazlett, and you are going to see a little bit different today than what we normally do because of the storm that we had. I believe we had in the last 24 hours 14.8 inches of snow that fell here in the Quad City. Some places had like 15 inches of snow. So things are going to be a little bit different today. The Mishpacha, the local Mishpacha, has not ventured out today because of the weather and the conditions and everything. So I'll be giving a short lesson today as we continue to remember those on our prayer list here. Prayers going up for our Ema Helen Carruthers, Ema Elaine Smith, and also for Annie McCoy and Albert McCoy. This is Coty Parker. It's her mother and father. Deacon James Atwater, Lithania Barber, praying for her, as well as Dwayne Henderson, Charles Dixon, call your name out in prayer, Patricia Brooms, Damian and Tiffany McNeil. Prayers going up for Michael and Martha Klinkner, and for Charles and Dolores Holmes, as well as Maisha, Latasha Hazlett, Moray Terry Gerard, Bethina Gerard, Moray Cedric Parker, Dina Parker, Lloyd Eston, Akoti Kelly Eston, Maura Linda Walsh, and our Akoti Joy Stewart, and Akoti Juanita, daughter of Zion. Prayers going up for Bernice Atwater. Prayers going up for Renee Johnson and her family there in Phoenix. Emmanuel Malachi Howard. Continue to pray for him. And Marcus Fair, our Marcus Fair. We certainly pray for you as well. Rose Caldwell. And shout out to you as our prayers are going up for you, and prayers for Donna Phillips, Dominique VC, and D. Booker, Destiny Booker, Xavier Dodd, Koti Tamara Hazlett, Nathan Parker, Benjamin Parker, Noah Parker, Koti Janae Tinsley, Jaden Tinsley, our Devontae Wesley, and our Joseph Kalimsik. We say our prayers for you, and there's others that we're praying for as well. We're praying for our Zakinium that are traveling over to South Africa. This is the day they'll be up in the air, and certainly our prayers are going up in the airways and up in the altitude for them that are traveling, that Most High Yah will guide them through the air. They'll have a safe departure and a safe landing as they touch down in Johannesburg, South Africa, and praying for their safe arrival back home as well. And there's others that we're praying for, but I would say, and you've heard me say before, we must have a life of prayer. It's got to be a prayer time set aside in your schedule. Can't be too busy to where you can't pray. If you're too busy, you can't pray. You're just too busy. And there's always something or someone to pray for. So each and every day, our time spent in prayer. Um, let's recall those. And I have my family members, Akoti, Annette Hazlett, and we call Laney Barber out. This is of my father's household, of my father's house, Arthur Hazlett of his house, and Celeste and Ben Rogers, and Renee and Michael Johnson, Annette Hazlett, Alma Garner, Lori Hazlett, the Mishpacha around the country that we visited. Say shalom to those in Las Vegas. Thinking of you on this beautiful Shabbat day. And we welcome everybody. Come on in, say shalom as you come in. Greet one another with that holy greeting of Shabbat Shalom. I say holy because the seventh day is a day that the Most High Yah set apart. It's nothing that we have done as the house of Yah, those who are members here and those who believe Torah. And when I say believe Torah, that's from Genesis to Revelation, all of Torah. Everybody who is following Torah knows that the seventh day was a day that was set apart for a day of rest. And he gave it to Yasharel. He gave it to Adam first, but he gave it to Yasharel when he chose them as his nation. And he says, if you keep this day and you set it apart and it is holy unto you, this is a sign upon you, talking about the house of Yasharel. It's a sign upon you that you are my people, that you've entered into this covenant with me, that you are keeping the commandments of the Most High. So this is a day that we recognize, that we're very grateful for, to know that we're walking in light and we're walking in truth. So I'm not a vocalist as far as lyrics and singing songs. So what my calling is and what my assignment is Abba Yah has chosen me through his only begotten son, Yahusha HaMashiach, that I bring forth to you the Torah, the understanding that he has given me in my study, and then being filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. And we say, welcome all those who coming in from Arizona. Come on in, Florida. Y'all got that beautiful weather. Come on in, California. Those from around the country. We love you all. We love you all. My assignment as a moray, as a teacher, being filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, which the world calls the Holy Ghost, being filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, and the understanding and enlightenment that he has given me in Torah, and then the assignment that he's given me to be a Raha, which is a shepherd. There's a difference between a moray and a Raha. A moray can teach the word and be about your journey. A Raha is accountable for souls. A Raha is there when children are born. The birth, natural birth, spiritual birth. The Raha is there to nourish, to raise, to feed. A Raha is there to feed with knowledge and understanding. He says, in Jeremiah 3:15, he says, I'm going to give you Rahas according to my heart. That's going to feed you with knowledge and understanding. A Raha goes a little further than a moray. And so being my assignment of being a Raha, being accountable for souls, having to give an account for souls, as it says in the 13th chapter of Hebrews, that I have to give an account for souls. So all of those who are of this assembly membership that I work with on the daily, I have to give an account for them. And their prayer is that I do it with joy, not with grief, because if it's done with grief, then that's unprofitable for them. So I can be a moray to many, but I'm a raha to few. And it just goes along with the whole message of Torah. Many are called, few are chosen. And just the whole understanding of Torah from Genesis to Revelation, careful study of Torah, a man, a woman of Elohim, who the world calls God. We've been given English titles, translations, God, Lord, and the nation of Israel, and even our Messiah, never spoken those terms, not in that terminology. That terminology was given to us in the English language. And I know some say, well, that's how I understand it in English, and that was good. It's been good enough for generations, so it's good enough for me. And if that's the understanding that you have, just as long as you know that when Yahusha returns, the world calls Jesus, when Yahusha returns, there's going to be one pure language. And I do not believe with all my heart in my life, I put my life on the line, I don't believe that language is going to be English, because the Most High Yah spoke from the Shamaim in the Hebrew language. Our Messiah spoke Hebrew. Shaul, who the world calls Paul, when he was struck down by that bright light, he heard the voice from the Shamaim. It was in the Hebrew dialect, the Hebrew tongue. Shaul knew Greek, he knew Latin. Shaul was multilingual, but the Most High, when he spoke to him in Hebrew. The people of Yasharel, when they listened to Shaul, they would only listen to Shaul, and this is documented in the 22nd chapter, I believe it's 22nd chapter of Acts. It's documented that they would not listen to him until he spoke Hebrew, because Hebrew is the chosen language. And so our Father, our Abba, his name is Yah, Yahuwah, Yah. In Psalm 68:4, he writeth in the heavens by his name, Yah. So we address him properly by his name. His name is Yah. And his son said, I come in my father's name. So if his son comes in his father's name, his son has Yah in his name. And so we address him as Yahusha. But from the beginning of Torah all the way to the end, there is a common theme, a common thread that he gives unto us. And he tells the same story in different fashions. He tells the same story, it's repeated, but he tells it in a different way. He'll tell the story to the northern kingdom. He'll tell the story to the southern kingdom. He'll spread the word to Gentile nations. It's repeated in a number of languages, but it's told in different fashions. Same story, same outcome, but in a different fashion, a different way. And I think some people get confused because they don't understand that Abba Yah is telling the same story, but he might be telling it, or he does tell it in different ways. He tells it in different manners, but it's the same. Same story. So one of our foundational scriptures is we come from the book of Yahuchanan, who the world calls John, but we come from the book of Yahuchanan, chapter 4 and verse number 22. Ye worship you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation, or soteria in Greek, is of the Yahudim. And as we go through our Shabbat lesson today, um, I would suggest that we have our script, our book, our scripture, whether you are viewing it electronically. Some of us have tablets and laptops. Some of us, we still like the scriptures, the book. We open up our book, and I would suggest that you follow along with your book, and maybe even if you write things down, that's always good. As we learn, a lot of times if you just hear it, you're not going to retain it. But if you write it down and you can refer back to it, you have more of a retention if I can refer back to it. So I would encourage that on today. This is words of our Messiah, whether the Roman religion wants to believe it or not. This is words from our Messiah. This is Yahusha speaking. Now, he tells us where salvation or deliverance or safety, he tells us where that's at. If I want to be safe, if I want to be delivered, then I have to be with the Yahudim, or of the Yahudim, or in the Yahudim. We have to be careful that we don't take his word and begin to do Roman religion philosophy. Roman religion philosophy, through the philosophers of the 2nd century, is what has and will lead a lot of people down the wrong path. If you follow the Roman religion philosophy, it's going to lead you to Rome. And Rome tells you that their religion has replaced Yasharel. I say Yasharel, Israel, but Yasharel. The Roman religion will philosophize and tell you that their religion has replaced Yasharel. That is so far from the truth. It's if all I'm listening to is philosophers of the Roman religion, then my whole vision of Torah and my whole vision of the Yahudim, my whole vision of the end time is going to be skewed. It's going to be skewed because my perspective and the ears and everything I'm listening to is coming from a wrong source. It's just the wrong source. So Yahusha says that your deliverance, your safety, if you have a SOS call going out, your safety is going to be of the Yahudim. So did Yahusha say anything that was different from what was written in the prophets? Did he say anything that was different from that? And the answer to that question is no. If I believe in Yahushua HaMashiach, who the world calls Jesus Christ, but if I believe in him, then I have to believe in everything that was written about him before he came on the scene or came into the world. I would have to believe everything that was written beforehand. And this is where many of us get off, because we think that because I'm baptized or immersed and I get filled with the Spirit, and some people do, some people don't, but they believe in Yahushua Mashiach unto salvation, and they think that all I got to do is believe unto him unto salvation, and I'm going to be saved. And it's more than that. We have to realize that it's more than that. And so when he said that salvation is of the Yahudim, we have to look at who are the Yahudim. If my deliverance and my safety, my health is of the Yahudim, he doesn't say one individual. It doesn't say salvation is of the Jew. It says of the Jews or of the Yahudim. So there's more than one. He's talking about a nation. And so I want to go to Luke 1 and start at verse number. I'll start at verse number 69. And he says, and have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant Daud, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies. We should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Now, I think this is written in your book. You can check me out and make sure, but I think it's written in your book. This is speaking of Yahusha, and who at the time his people had enemies. Now, remember what I said before, that this is the same story, but it's told in different manners. He tells the same story in different ways throughout the whole Torah, from beginning to end. He tells the same story. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant. Again, if you're listening to the Roman religion, the philosophers of the Roman religion, they dispel and dilute and cast away the holy covenant that was given unto our fathers. Yahusha didn't do that. Nobody of his disciples, and disciples were followers. None of his disciples or his followers believe what the Roman religion philosophers are teaching us today. None of them. None of them. They knew who Yahushua Mashiach was, and they knew why he came, and they knew that their rescue and their delivery, their salvation was going to be of them. They understood that. They understood that. It says that he's going to remember the Holy Covenant. He's going to remember the Holy Covenant. The oath which he swore to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. The covenant that was given to Yasharel, the oath that was given unto Abraham, and then Yahusha came to confirm this. This is who, when Yahusha said in Yochanan 4:22, this is what he's referring to. Salvation or deliverance is going to be of the Yahudim because of the covenant. Look at what he said in verse number 72 here. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant. Abba Yah is not a covenant breaker. The covenant that he made with Yasharel will come to pass. That's why Yahusha says your deliverance is going to be of the Yahudim, because the covenant that he made with the Yahudim, he's not going to forsake that. He's going to keep that. I know in the Wednesday, the fourth day of the week, Torah study, we talked about the clouds and the prophecy of Enoch. We talked about the prophecy of Musha in Deuteronomy. We talked about the prophecy of Yahushua HaMashiach, and the prophecy of Enoch is spoken of in the book of, they call it Jude, but it's Yehuda. In the book of Yehuda, the 14th verse, it talks about the prophecy of Enoch. Musha says the same prophecy in Deuteronomy 33. Also, Yahusha says the same prophecy in Mark 14 and 62, dealing with the cloud of saints that are coming to judge. And we look at 1 Thessalonians, and we want to say that in 1 Thessalonians 4:17, we're going to be caught up in the clouds. And Shaul says that those who remain, that's the important thing. They're alive and they remain, which means they've been left behind. And how, and the whole Roman religion philosophers, how they try to make this whole concept of being left behind, being disappearing, and all of this, and how it has diluted the true message of Torah. They purposely diluted the true message of Torah. And how those clouds, being in those clouds, means you are worthy to judge. That's what it means of being in the clouds. You are worthy to judge. And so we looked at in Yehuda, they call Jude, and it talks about how they're going to judge all of the ungodly, of all their ungodly ways, all of those who transgress, these are the ones that are going to be able to judge. But I'm going to say this: how are you going to judge and you don't even believe in the law? How are you going to judge? You don't believe in the commandment. You don't even believe in keeping the commandments. How are you going to judge anybody? How are you going to judge if you're not a commandment keeper? And Yahusha had said in Yahuchanan 14:15, if you love me, keep or guard my commandments. How are you going to be a judge and you don't believe in law? You don't believe in commandments. You don't believe in, I don't believe in the commandments. I don't believe in the statute. I'm not under no commandments. I'm not under the, but then how are you in that cloud of those who are going to judge? In Luke, or I'm sorry, in Mark, and I'm going to chapter 14 and verse number 62. And Yahusha said, I am, and ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. And because we're not of the Hebraic mindset and Hebraic culture, to where we've studied the culture and the idioms that they would use even before the time of our Messiah, we don't really understand what Yahusha says here. But those who were judging him at that time, that's why it says the high priest rent his clothes and said, what need we any further witnesses? We have heard the blasphemy. What think ye? And they all condemned him to be guilty of death. What was the high priest talking about? The high priest was referring to what Yahusha had said when he says, I'm coming in the right hand of power in the clouds of the Shamaim, which means I'm coming back to judge. He's dealing with judgment here. This whole verse, what he said here, is dealing with the return of our Messiah, and the clouds are those who will be with him to judge, to bring about judgment. That's why they said, oh, he's blasphemed. Here he is standing trial by us, the high priest, and he said he's going to come to judge us. So they counted that as blasphemy. But what Yahusha was referring to was the prophecy that was given even in the time of Enoch, in the time of Musha. And so in Deuteronomy, and it's chapter 33, and I'm going to look at verse number 2 and verse number 3. And he says, Yahuwah came from Sinai, rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000 of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. So when Yahusha says he's coming in the right hand power and in the clouds, this is what he's referring to. Yea, he loved the people. All his saints are in thy hand, and they sat down at thy feet. Everyone shall receive of thy words. What is in his right hand, when he says a right hand of power, what's in his right hand is a fiery law. A fiery law. The law, the statutes, and the commandments. Those who are caught up in this cloud are going to be able to judge on this fiery law. So my question is, if you don't believe in law and you say you're not under law and you're not under no commandments, how do you expect to do any judgment? How can you be a law breaker and a law transgressor and then expect to judge? Who are you going to judge? I'll tell you, you're going to judge yourself. You're going to judge yourself as one who is unworthy. Those who are going to be in his right hand that will be in that cloud are those that will be able to judge by law. So many are called, but a few are chosen. He does have those chosen, the ones who will remain, those ones who are true. He does have a chosen few. He's called many. He called all of Yasharel. He's called all of Yasharel. But many are, but only a few are chosen, and only a few are going to be the ones that will be judging. If he's delivered you from Newport cigarettes, okay, yeah, you can judge on those who are still smoking Newports. You can judge those who are vaping. I used to smoke, and I don't smoke anymore. I don't vape. You'll be able to judge transgressors who are. You're not going to. But if I say, if my claim to salvation is, I used to smoke, I don't smoke anymore. I used to do drugs, I don't do drugs anymore. I was a binge drinker. I don't do that anymore. I was a womanizer. I don't do that anymore. And that's your claim. I was a fornicator. I don't fornicate anymore. You would be a witness unto that, but you're not going to be a witness unto keeping the commandments. You're not going to be able to judge someone whether they broke the Sabbath or kept the Sabbath if you don't even believe in the Sabbath. If you don't believe in the Sabbath, how are you going to judge somebody whether they broke the Sabbath or didn't break the Sabbath? You don't even believe in it. You don't believe in the laws. You don't believe in a clean diet. And it says in Yahuchanan, I would that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospereth. But if you don't believe in the Torah and what the Torah identifies and labels as clean and unclean, then how are you prospering in your health? I want to go into this what is happening in these last days and what is going to happen, because many times our understanding of Torah is given to us by the Roman religion, and we need Yahudim, Mores, and Rahas, and Zakinium that are not being fed, and their doctrine, their teaching is not being filtered by the Roman religion. If we're following and listening to those who are influenced by the Roman religion, And some people might say, well, what is the Roman religion? What is he talking about? The Roman Catholic construct of Christianity is not biblical. It's not biblical. And if I'm influenced by that, then I'm not going to hear the voice of Yah. And that's why a lot of our brothers and sisters who are in the Roman religion, and you ask them about things to come, and their whole view of the future is skewed because they're following and they're filtered by the Roman religion. So you can't, somebody that is of the Roman religion, persuasion of the Roman religion, cannot tell you of things that are to come. They're not preparing you for the total collapse of this nation. They're not preparing you for that because their vision, it says in Proverbs, without a vision, the people perish. So their vision of what is about to happen is skewed. In Torah and prophecy, it talks about the 10 horns. It talks about the beast. In Daniel, referred to the four-part, this image that had 4 parts to it, which was 4 beasts that were upon the earth. And all of those beasts that were upon the earth were leaders of the world, the whole world at their time, at the time that they rose up among men. They were the leaders of the world. And Daniel was so confused by that 4th beast. And he even asked about it. And he was just, in the 7th chapter of Daniel, and even at the end of that chapter, he said he was just in his cognition. He was just kind of disturbed. He just held the vision. He couldn't completely understand, especially that 4th beast. But that 4th beast is dealing with the end times and who are the rulers, the world rulers. Daniel and Revelation is talking about the world leaders and rulers of that day. We're in a day and a time now where the 4th beast. So who are the world leaders? Who are they? Look, and then you just have to do a little research, because you'll find out in your research the ones who control the markets around the world, the one who controls the military around the world, the ones who does all of the they can make a nation poor, they make a nation rich. It was a few generations ago that the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund, and all you got to do is do your research and find out who runs those, who's the head of those, and it'll tell you who the world leaders are. But they know, this beast knows that in order to have an economic engine or economic powerhouse, you have to have free labor or cheap labor. It's either free labor or cheap labor. I can build an economic engine, an economic powerhouse, if I don't have to pay for labor. So they had the world powers, and the beast had free labor there for hundreds of years. They got rich off of free labor. Once you had the Emancipation Proclamation, you got away from the free labor. You had to start charging for labor. It was cheap labor that built the economic engine. They decided, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, decided on cheap labor. They went to Asia and got cheap labor over in Asia. Made in Taiwan, made even now, made over there in China, made in India. A lot of your clothing and your texture market, and they were traded off of cheap labor. They chose that part of the world, And since they chose that part of the world for cheap labor, where is that part of the world now? Right now, United States of America is threatened by China. They feel threatened by China. Why? Because China is the emerging economy, the emerging powerhouse. They have the number 2 economy, which will replace the number 1 economy, which is the United States of America. They know it's about to happen, but they created it. The point I'm trying to make is they could have easily gone over to Africa and got cheap labor. Easily. It was just a decision. It's just like they go into an area and draw up lines and write on a piece of paper, this is mine, it belongs to me. I come into this land, this is my land now. I'm gonna draw a line here and I'm gonna write up a decree here and it says it's mine, and I'm gonna take it from you. If you don't like it, I'm gonna kill you. That type of mentality, they could have easily gone to Africa and built the economy in Africa with cheap labor, but no, they chose Asia. The world powers, and they're about to meet in Davos, the world power, this fourth beast, the book of Daniel, book of Revelation speaks of these powers. And so as an Israelite and listening to Torah with the Ruach HaKodesh, it will explain to us where my deliverance and my salvation. Yahusha said it. He says, we worship, we know not what, or you worship, you know not what. We know what we worship. For salvation is of the Yahudim. I know the world economic powers and the beast today. I'm in the belly of the beast. And the Bible, Revelation, and prophecy tells us what's about to happen to this beast. So I want salvation. I got to know where it's at. Well, Yahusha told us where it was at. So in prophecy, I want to go to, if you will, I want to go to Isaiah chapter 60, and I'm going to start with verse number 1. Listen to the Ruach. Listen to the Ruach as it speaks in Torah, in prophecy. Don't listen to the Roman religion and the philosophers of the Roman religion, because they can't even see this. Arise, shine, for the light is come. For thy light is come. Arise and shine, for thy light has come. And the glory of Yahuwah is risen upon thee. Notice now, Yahusha said in Yahuchanan 4:22, ye worship, you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Yahudim, because he was speaking of prophecy. Verse number 2, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Yahuwah shall rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. So where is the light coming from? He talks about darkness over the earth, gross darkness on the people. Does that mean all the lights are turned out? Darkness shall cover the earth because everybody is looking at the wrong thing when it comes to revelation and salvation. They're in darkness. Many people are waiting for a European Jesus Christ to come and rescue them. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. First of all, Yahusha was not a European. He was a Hebrew Israelite. of the tribe of Yehuda. I don't know how to, I don't say it to be offensive. I say it as the truth. And that's what we have to walk in, because the truth is light. So I walk in that light. I say it because it's the truth. Darkness upon the people, gross darkness upon the people. But it says, Yahuwah says, the light is going to shine upon us. But Yahuwah shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Talking about Yasharel, specifically the southern kingdom. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. This is about to happen. This is what's going to happen to Yasharel. The world that is in darkness, the light is going to shine upon the Yahudim. And he is going to raise them up, and the whole world is going to see. The whole world is going to see. I see some of the comments that are coming in. The whole world is going to see the Yahudim, and those who are in the Yahudim are the ones that are going to be rescued, that are going to be safe, and how the Bible describes salvation. That's where our salvation is going to be. The Gentiles shall come to thy light. I'm not saying this to be offensive to people. I'm reading Torah. I'm reading Torah, which the Roman religion philosophers will not do. They're not going to go to the prophets and read the prophecy that deals with Yasharel. They're not going to do that because they are under the influence. They are under the influence of the Roman religion. So I want to go to Zechariah and 8, and I want to get the verse where I think it's towards the end of this chapter of Zechariah. And it's verse number 23. That's the verse that I want to read. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, the Gentiles, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Yehudi, saying, we will go with you. This is salvation. This is salvation. We will go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. Gentiles come into our light. Gentiles come into to be rescued through the Yahudim. It's going to be Gentiles that are come to us and say, we know Elohim is with you. So you have to we know Yahuwah Elohim is going to come and rescue you, and we know that he's with you. So if I'm in the Yahudim, when he comes get the Yahudim, he's going to come get me too. When he rescues the Yahudim, when he delivers the Yahudim, if I'm with the Yahudim, then I'm going with the Yahudim. Where the Yahudim goes, that's where I'm going. Almost like Ruth, when Ruth told her mother Naomi, your people are my people. Your Elohim, my Elohim. Because I know that Yahuwah Elohim is with Yasharel because he prophesied it. He made a covenant with Abraham. He's not a covenant breaker. The oath that he gave to Abraham, and we see it in Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahushua HaMashiach confirmed and verified the covenant that he made to Abraham. He's not going to forsake that covenant, people. People, Most High Yah is not going to forsake his covenant that he made with Abraham. He's keeping that word. He's keeping his commitment. He's keeping his covenant. He made an oath to verify that he's going to keep that covenant. We need to wake up, Yasharel. Need to come out of that Roman religion. We need to wake up and realize that it's in Yasharel where the redemption is. It's in Yasharel where the redemption is. I'm just going to run off a few scriptures here while I have some time. And in Yasher Yah, which is Isaiah, and I want to go to the 10th verse, and he says, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. So, if they're going to seek rest, and Yahusha said that, right? He says, come unto me, all you labor and heavy laden, I will give you rest. Take my yoke, which is his law, statutes, command. Take my yoke upon you, and ye shall find rest for your souls. Gentiles, they have to come into Yasharel, and if they take on the same yoke that is upon us, then their rest shall be glorious. So it's of the Yahudim. It's of them that is going to get the restoration and salvation. In Isaiah 49 and I'm going to look at verse number 6. And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob and to restore, listen, the preserved of Yasharel, because he has an elect, like Shaul said, he had an elect in his day. He's got those that he has preserved, and how he preserves us is through his Torah, through his law, and to restore the preserved of Yasharel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be my, listen to what he says, salvation unto the end of the earth. Thus saith Yahuwah, the Redeemer of Yasharel. Thus saith Yahuwah, the Redeemer of Yasharel, his Holy One, to him whom man despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise, princes also shall worship, because of Yahuwah that is faithful, the Holy One of Yasharel, and he shall choose thee. So what about those who say that the Roman religion is his chosen people today? That doesn't go with prophecy. It's not true. And so we need to really and fully understand that, and then return to the Torah and what's written in Torah, so that our Messiah will gather us again. Notice now, he said that he was going to give us to be a light to the Gentiles. Yasharel, the whole nation of Yasharel, the Yahudim, Yahusha HaMashiach, a light to the world. This light that is to the world, if you go to Isaiah chapter 2 and verse number 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, to the house of Elohim of Yaakov, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion, or Zion, shall go forth the law and the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem. That's the light. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. This is a future prophecy. We know we're not there right now, because we know we're in war now. The World War III has already started. So when it says they're going to learn war no more, we know that's not talking about now. It's talking about a future. And in the future, everyone is going to come to Yasharel. Everyone's going to come to Yasharel, and they're going to say, teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. The law is going to come out of Zion. The word from Jerusalem, the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem. But how are you going to teach that if you don't know it? How are you going to, my brother, my sister, how are you going to teach the law that comes from Zion and you don't even believe it's applicable to you today? You don't believe you have to keep Torah. You don't believe, I don't have to teach nothing from Israel. I'm not an Israelite. I'm not Israel. I'm the Christian church. That's not in Torah, because those who will be doing the teaching, those who will be doing the judging, judgment is in the clouds. You want to be caught up in the clouds? You're going to be caught up into some judgment. That's where judgment is going to be. So my brother, my sister, Deuteronomy chapter 30, and I'll start off with verse number 1. I'm going to read down to verse number 4, because this we have to understand this. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, and curses are written in Deuteronomy 28, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations where the Yahuwah thy Elohim have driven thee. So Yasharel has been driven out to the four corners. Yasharel has been driven out. They're not in their holy land. They're not in the land that Yahuwah promised Abraham and his seed, the inheritance that he gave to Abraham and his seed. They're not there. They've been driven out because of the curse, because they broke covenant. And when they broke covenant, they were cursed. And I hear some people say in the Roman religion, I ain't under no curse. I ain't under no curse. Yahusha came, he did away with the curse. Well, if he did away with the curse, according to your understanding, then Yahusha would have already brought his people back into the land of Jerusalem and the promised land by your understanding of curse, because there's more than one curse. Yasharel as a nation was cursed because they broke covenant. individually, there was a curse upon individuals who were hung. So when we look at a corporate curse and we try to take that corporate curse and reduce it into an individual curse, I tried to warn you even at the beginning of this, you have to be careful of the Roman religion philosophers, because they'll go to Galatians and try to take that individual curse upon Yahusha and upon individuals who were individually hung on a tree. They try to take that curse and say, see, he took the curse away. This national curse, this corporate curse, has not been taken away yet. We're still under this corporate curse. I'm not under the individual curse, but I am under the corporate curse. And this corporate curse is that Yasharel was going to be driven into the land of their enemies, and that's where they are, even to this day. So listen to the Most High Yah. Listen to what he says. Whether Yahuwah thy Elohim have driven thee and shalt return. Notice now, remember what he said, that when you're amongst all these nations, he says, if you return unto Yahuwah thy Elohim and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul. This is the light that comes upon Yasharel as spoken in Isaiah chapter 60, when he says, arise and shine, for the light has come upon us. If we return unto him, if we remember the curse that we're under, and we return unto him and obey his voice and keep his command, everything that he commanded him this day, it's written right here, thou and thy children, and we return with all of our heart and with all of our soul, that then Yahuwah thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations where the Yahuwah thy Elohim have scattered thee. We know what we wish for. Salvation is of the Yahudim. Deliverance and rescue is of the Yahudim. So he's going to have compassion upon us. He's going to return and gather us from all the nations where the Yahuwah Elohim has driven us, where he has scattered us. And verse number 4, he says, even if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of the Shamaim, from thence will Yahuwah thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. But it's not until we remember, like he says here in verse number 2, verse number 1 and verse number 2, if we can call to mind among all the nations whither we've been driven, if we can call to mind how we have been cursed and we've been scattered, if we can call to mind and we can hear his voice and return unto him and keep these commandments with our heart and with our soul and our children, we teach them unto our children, because Torah starts at home. When this happens, he's going to gather us. And that's why Yahusha says salvation is of the Yahudim. Yahusha knew that the southern kingdom was going to be scattered to the four corners of the earth. He knew it. How did he know it? Because he said it in Luke 21:24. He says you're going to be led into captivity into all nations, and Jerusalem's going to be trodden on the foot of the Gentile until the time of the Gentiles are fulfilled. So Yahusha knew it. He knew it. And so when we can call to mind where we're at, what's keeping us from being called to mind where we're at, there's a religion out there that doesn't want you to even know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, then you're not going to return to the covenant. You're not going to return to the covenant if you don't know who you are. Those who know who they are, we're turning back. to the covenant, because we know that when we return, we call to mind the blessings and the curses, and we return unto them, that he's going to gather us. He's going to gather us from all nations, from one end of Shamayim to the other. Prophecy has to be fulfilled. And everything that's written from Genesis to Revelation, it's the same story, but it's told in different fashions and in different manners. He tells us the same story, but it's written differently, or it's spoken differently, but it's the same story. It's the same will of Abba Yah, to have a people that's going to rule this earth as a kingdom. It was prophesied in Daniel that the saints were going to possess the kingdom. And I'm going to go there in Daniel, the 7th chapter. Let's see, it's about, he says in verse number 14, he says, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away. And his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. And so we see here that the Ancient of Days is coming, and he's going to establish his kingdom here. And when he establishes his kingdom here, those who are going to be in his kingdom are going to possess his kingdom. And it says in verse number 18, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. This is the salvation of Yasharel. This is the salvation of the Yahudim. He gathers his people. He sets up his kingdom. It's going to be an everlasting kingdom. And it says the saints of the Most High. And a lot of people call themselves saints. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. And that kingdom that we're going to possess is here on the earth. We're going to be reigning here on the earth, like he had said in verse, and we read that in verse number 14. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, languages shall serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. And like it says in verse 18, the saints of the Most High, we get to take possession of the kingdom, and we get to reign here on earth forever and ever, even forever. I think that's what it says. Isn't that what it says? Verse number 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. In case you don't understand what forever is, he even puts even ever, and then at the end of that, and ever, which means it's an everlasting kingdom. It's not going to end. So my prayer and my life and my desire is to be a part of that kingdom, to be one of the saints here that will take possession of the kingdom and reign forever and ever. This is where Yasharel and the Yahudim is going to be. And he does say that if we're going to be the saints, then we have to be given a new birth. And that birth has to be of water and spirit. There is a new birth for Yasharel. The Roman religion didn't start immersions. They didn't start that. They hijacked it. They didn't start it. The immersions were given unto Yasharel. Our Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach, immersed people himself. He immersed his disciples. And he taught his disciples how to immerse. And his disciples were immersed in his name. And they went about. It was given, I hope you guys know, it was given to the disciples, his followers, to take this news to Yasharel. And then those who came into Yasharel had to come of the same adoption and be ruled by the same law, statutes, commands. It was given unto his students, not the philosophers of Rome. If you hear about the post-apostolic fathers, all of those were philosophers, theologians of paganism, and they brought their philosophy into our teachings and our instruction. They brought their philosophy into it, and they've contaminated Yasharel with their philosophy. But if you want to get back to the truth, then you have to go back to Yahusha, and nowhere did Yahusha tell you that you didn't have to keep his laws, and also that you had to be born again of the water and the spirit. So there is a new birth for us. There is a new birth for us. We must be born again of the water and spirit. And then there's another birth. Is that the only birth? There's another birth. There's a birth of Torah. The birth of the word. Many of us have not been born of the word. The word gives birth to you. What do you mean the word? The Torah, the word gives you a new beginning. I was born of Torah. I was born of water and spirit, but I was born of Torah too, because there's more than just the birth of water and spirit. You have to be born of Torah. The word has to give birth unto you, a new beginning that starts you on your path to understanding. I'm not of that persuasion of holla down here, hallelujah up in the Shamaim. And if you're not saying holla down here, hallelujah up in the Shamaim, then everybody else is going to hell. Torah doesn't teach that. Torah doesn't teach that. It's a misguided understanding, because those of the Roman religion, they want to escape this world. Yahusha said in his prayer, he says, I pray that you don't take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil. Following false doctrine is evil. Living a lawless life is evil. Trying to destroy his people is evil. He's going to recompense all of those who try to destroy his people. He's going to recompense. He is going to recompense. And so we thank him on today that the word, the Torah, is given birth unto us. And we do pray that you become a part of this nation, Yasharel. Be a part of the birth of a nation, because that's where your salvation is. That's where your deliverance. That's where your safety is going to be. Is going to be in Yasharel. He made a covenant, and he's going to come back for Yasharel and all those who are part. Like it says in Zechariah, you got those of other nations and other languages, and which means they're Gentiles, they're goyim, and they're saying, hey, I'm grabbing a hold of the shirt or the skirt of a Yahudi, a Yahudim, because I know Elohim's with them. I know Elohim's with them, because the light is going to shine upon us. Don't get discouraged, Yasharel, those who are following the truth that's in Torah. Don't get discouraged, because he is coming back for his people. He is going to return. The light is going to shine upon us. The whole world is going to know who we are. The whole world is going to see the light of the Most High Yah upon his people. Arise and shine, for the light has come upon us. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Arise and shine, for the light has come upon us. It is about to happen. You're going to see Yasharel rising up like out of the heat, like a phoenix out of the desert. You're going to see Yasharel rising up. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And all of those who are cleaving unto Yasharel, all of those who are coming into Yasharel. And if you hate Yasharel and you hate his people, you have hatred in his heart for his people, he's got a recompense for you. He's gonna get you. You're gonna be judged. You're gonna be judged on your hatred towards Yasharel. And this world hates true Yasharel, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This world hates the 12 tribes, the blood descendant 12 tribes of Jacob. This world hates it. This world hates them. You say you're a descendant of Jacob, you're of the 12 tribes of Jacob. Oh, they're coming after you. They'll try to shut us down. They're going to come after us because the world hates the 12 tribes, the blood descendant 12 tribes of Yasharel. The world hates us, but we're going to arise and shine. Hallelujah. We're going to arise and shine, for the light is about to shine on Yasharel. And so we're going to, we're thankful for you staying with us at this time. And we do pray that you keep your prayers going up, that he'll wake up Jacob. Hallelujah. Like it says in Deuteronomy, when we think within ourselves to know who we are and we got to come back to him. Oh, I'm gathering my people. Hey, my people woke up now. It's time for me to gather my people. So we're trying to send the message out there and we're praying, wake up, Jacob. Hallelujah. Wake up, Jacob. For the light to shine upon us. We're waiting for that. We're waiting for that day, and it's near. It is really near upon us. So keep the faith, keep walking in the light, walking in truth. Don't let nobody persuade you. Hallelujah. What it says in Hebrew, when you start in this path and then you turn back, let's say you were in Christianity all your life, and then you started down this path, but then you turn back to Christianity. It says, no, I think Kepha said it. He says, I ain't got no pleasure in him. I don't have no pleasure in that soul that he awakened you out of sleep to know that you're Yasharel, and then you turn back to Christendom. And when I say Christendom, I'm talking about the Roman religion, the Roman Catholic construct of Christianity. That Roman religion is only going to lead you to Rome. And the promises weren't given to Rome. It was given to the Yahudim. It was given to Jerusalem. And so that's where we're going to go. That's where we're going to be established. And so don't turn back. You better not turn back, because he ain't going to have no pleasure in the soul that turneth back. Walk in the light. Walk in the truth. Walk in knowledge. Walk in understanding. And the Ruach will purge you and cleanse you and revive you and renew you unto your stronger man, stronger woman, because Yasharel is built to last. Yasharel is built to last. It's written in Torah. Yasharel is built to last. So we say Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to all of the 12 tribes of Yasharel scattered around the four corners of the world. In your respective city where you're at, we say Shabbat Shalom unto you. And we're so glad that you are part of this broadcast, this presentation on this day. Remember that Most High Yah, don't put him in a box. You can't box up Most High Yah. He's got people scattered all over the world, and we all have our ministry. We all have a work that we have to do. We got a work we have to do. He raises up ministers, mores, moras, zakins, rahas. He raises them up around the world in your respective city. And he gives us a message to teach and preach. And don't think, you better not think that one person got it all. Most High, one person don't have it all. His only begotten son, Yahushua HaMashiach, said he didn't even know the day that he was going to return. That's what Yahushua said. Yahushua says the son don't know the day that he will return. So no one man has it all. He gives us feeders. He gives us people, and we glean and we learn from them. We learn from them. We learn from our mores. We learn from our moras. We learn from our zakins. We learn from our rahas that has to give an account for our souls. We learn from them, but one person don't have it all. I don't believe that for a minute. When somebody say they got it all, I'll shut them down. I'll just glean from them. I'll eat the meat, spit out the bones. But no one person has it all. Abba Yah's too big. He's too big. Solomon said the heavens of heavens can't contain him. He fills all space and time. All wisdom and knowledge comes from him. So he just gives us a nugget. He gives us a nugget, and all of the ministers, those who are selected by him, he's raising them up around the world, and they have to let them do their ministry. They're hearing from the Most High Yah. There's something that they can say, eat the meat, spit out the bones, because nobody has it all. So I say Shabbat Shalom to all of our teachers, our feeders, those around the world, all of our Mishpacha. And I learned something about the Mishpacha. Mishpacha is family, all the family under one covenant. Let that sink in. Family under one covenant is the Mishpacha. So you're not my Mishpacha if you have another covenant. You could be blood related, but if you're of another covenant, then we're not Mishpacha. Mishpacha are those, the family under one covenant. One covenant. And so I say Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to the Mishpacha scattered to the 12 tribes scattered to the four corners of the earth. And we thank you for being a part of this ministry here at House of Yah. This is House of Yah, and we're sounding the alarm in the Mississippi Valley on the state line of Iowa and Illinois. Sounding the alarm, blowing the shofar, lifting our voice like a trumpet, that we might show Jacob their transgressions and the house of Yasharel their sins. Come up out of that false religion and come into the true faith of Yahushua HaMashiach. Come into that true faith. And that faith is believing and following the words of Yahushua that's written in Torah and being obedient unto the voice of the Most High Yah. If you feel led by the Ruach HaKodesh, and all those who are members here, remember your faithfulness unto him. We have different platforms that we receive your contributions, and all of your contributions are tax deductible. Isn't that wonderful? All that you give to this faith-based, and we are faith-based because we believe in the faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, his faith. I'm not a Christian. I believe in the faith of Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm an Israelite, like Shaul said. Shaul said, I'm an Israelite. You read in his letters, Shaul says, I'm an Israelite. I'm of the tribe of Benjamin, of the stock of Benjamin. He's of Yasharel, Israel, of the stock of Benjamin, tribe of Benjamin. And so I'm an Israelite. I'm just a lost Israelite because I don't know which tribe, but I do know Yehuda was spared to the four corners through captivity, and the northern kingdom had already left in the time of Yahusha. They had already been scattered, and he sent his disciples to go find the lost ones in Yasharel. And then the southern tribe was went off into captivity to the four corners. So I'm an Israelite. And so my faith is that of Yahushua HaMashiach and the new covenant that hasn't happened yet. And we're going to talk more about that new covenant as we get closer to Pesach 2024. And with that in mind, Pesach 2024 is going to be held here in Davenport. We're having some Zakinium that will be coming here from around the country. We got Mishpacha that will be coming from the four directions around this country that will be here, convening here in Davenport, Iowa for Pesach 2024. And you're going to hear more of an announcement of that coming up in our presentations. And it's in the month of April 23rd. But the Mishpacha is coming together to keep the Passover because it was commanded of us. We're under that one covenant. Mishpacha is under that one covenant. And under that one covenant, we're supposed to keep the Passover. It's memorial unto us. We're never supposed to forget. Never forget the Pesach. And we keep it as a memorial unto him. So April 23rd, 24th, 25th, we're going to be here, Pesach. And then first day, second day of unleavened bread. Those announcements will be going out further as we solidify that and it becomes crystal clear. And so everybody can make their preparations. So with that, I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for tuning in and coming into the house of Yah. Come on in to the house of Yah. It's going to be all right. Shalom. Remember our Zakinium that are traveling over to Africa, the Mishpacha that is going with them over to Johannesburg, South Africa. And we're praying for a safe journey over there. And most high willing, this Zakin, your Raha will be going over there in the month of June of 2024. Most high willing. But let's keep them up in prayer. All of those who are traveling, our close friends and close family that'll be traveling. And with that, I say shalom.